The entertainment industry has always harbored shadows that the dazzling stage lights and a forgiving spotlight could never truly penetrate. Behind the golden illusion of celebrated powerhouses and untouchable icons lies an earth-shattering secret: the reality of double lives and concealed same-sex relationships. There are legendary names known solely for their monumental success, awards, and glory. Yet, behind closed doors, they faced fame's crushing pressure and racial prejudices, forced into hiding just to embrace the one they loved. Today, we will reveal the chilling speculation and never-before-told stories of 21 famous black celebrities who secretly slept with the same sex. Shemar Moore. Imagine the suffocating weight of holding a spare key, standing on the threshold of a secluded Silver Lake bungalow on a warm September night in 1998. If you were his manager, you only knew Shemar Moore under the dazzling stage lights as an untouchable powerhouse of masculine perfection, a sex symbol meticulously crafted for the masses. I can almost feel the cold metal of that key turning, a mundane act intended simply to pack his luggage for an early flight. Stepping inside, the air was uncomfortably thick, radiating a heavy heat mixed with sweat and expensive cologne. Approaching the large dressing room, the illusion shattered in an instant. My heart would have pounded violently against my ribs, breath catching in my throat as the door drifted open. There he was, the alpha male icon, on his knees on the wooden floor, his hands desperately gripping the hair of a young male model. Their bodies moved with urgent, rhythmic intensity, illuminated only by the pale, ghostly blue light reflecting from the pool outside. It felt like a scandalous betrayal of the rigid persona he projected to the entire world. You could feel the raw heat of their secret, the double life unfolding as their eyes locked with hers in frozen panic. Blood rushed to her cheeks. The silence in the house suddenly turned deafening. She stepped back, gently clicking the door shut, her high heels echoing like gavel strikes condemning his fragile survival strategy. The fear of stigma in an era demanding rugged masculinity forced him into fierce defensive denials for years, battling a systemic blade that scrutinized his every move. The vibrant glow of his on-screen bravado was forever extinguished the moment she witnessed his terrifying reality, leaving behind nothing but the cold ash of a burnt-out spotlight. Fleeing a shattered facade in a Los Angeles dressing room is one thing, yet across the state, a much grander fortress of childhood innocence was quietly harboring its own devastating adult secret. Sherman Hemsley. It started with a seemingly insignificant detail. A wooden door left merely an inch ajar under the hazy glow of an old yellow light. Behind that small gap in a West Village apartment on Valentine's Day, 1980, the golden illusion of a television icon was momentarily suspended. Sherman Hemsley was a powerhouse, celebrated for his fiercely authoritative male presence on the Jeffersons. Yet, fame's crushing pressure forced him to build invisible walls around a high-stakes double life. Inside that dimly lit room, he sought desperate refuge with his secret Puerto Rican lover. The raw hunger of two men making up for a month apart blinded them to their sanctuary's vulnerability. When Damon Evans, his on-screen nephew, arrived to deliver urgent script changes, he pushed that unlatched door open and froze. There, on the sofa, was a sight defying every rigid social norm. Hemsley gripping his lover's hips, their sweat-drenched bodies intertwined. Damon silently backed into the hallway, carrying an earth-shattering secret that could have obliterated a legacy. The intense fear of stigma kept this reality buried for decades. It is a cold, indisputable truth. The man who made America laugh was quietly surviving in a society demanding his silence. A slightly open door nearly destroyed a sitcom patriarch, whereas another undisputed symbol of masculinity watched his entire facade crumble the exact moment a familiar key turned in a Los Angeles bungalow. Michael Jackson. Long before the final curtain fell, a silent predator of paranoia and profound isolation had already consumed his mind, transforming his sanctuary into a psychological fortress. To survive fame's crushing pressure, he engineered a mysterious, genderless facade, escaping into a soft, quiet children's kingdom deep inside Neverland Ranch. On the night of November 3, 1993, within this heavily guarded world, he desperately sought shelter from the public disgrace of swirling child abuse rumors. Returning from a grueling late recording session, he retreated to white satin sheets with a 22-year-old male friend who managed his eccentric collections. Embracing the young man, kissing his neck, and gripping his waist, Michael briefly escaped his internal torment, desperate to live according to his true feelings without a mask. But his psychological peace shattered when midnight footsteps broke the silence. Elizabeth Taylor, frantic over his unraveling state, arrived unannounced. When he opened the door, a trail of hickeys on his collarbone exposed his hidden reality. Elizabeth exited awkwardly, leaving behind two different-sized pairs of men's shoes as silent witnesses. Though married to women, his private reality was entirely devoid of them, proving his soul had vanished long before his body juicy na. He remained an unfillable void, a ghost in his own empire. Yet, while some hid behind the whimsical walls of an eccentric estate, other industry trailblazers abandoned the traditional masculine mold entirely, trading innocent kingdoms for the raw, neon-soaked adrenaline of late-night hotel rooms. Missy Elliott. She had just achieved the absolute pinnacle of musical dominance, delivering a groundbreaking performance in downtown Atlanta that shattered every rigid mold of female hip-hop artistry. The crowd's roars still echoed as she retreated to a luxury hotel suite, a powerhouse wrapped in the golden illusion of an untouchable icon. Yet, the dazzling stage lights quickly gave way to a hidden reality when a female backup dancer slipped into the room. Fueled by alcohol, their bold stage costumes were shed, trading public glory for secret, naked embraces on a long sofa beneath hazy neon lights. This passionate sanctuary collapsed into a sudden drop when urgent knocking rattled the door. Losing patience, her close colleague Trina used a spare key card to barge in, eager to share a late-night song idea. Instead, Trina froze, confronted by the raw sight of their intertwined bodies. Covering her mouth to stifle a scream, tears welling, Trina fled down the corridor while Missy desperately chased after her. Nobody realized they were actually secret lovers, making the betrayal feel like a devastating act of infidelity. They eventually reconciled, continuing their romance under the safe guise of platonic friendship, while Missy fiercely guarded her independent image against the systemic blade of public scrutiny. What is the true value of filling arenas worldwide when your most profound intimacy forces you into a desperate sprint down a cold, empty hotel hallway? A frantic chase through a concrete corridor exposes the fragile boundaries of an empire, just as a quiet night of scriptwriting in a sprawling Georgia mansion would soon collide with a spilled bowl of soup and a ruined 13-year relationship. Tyler Perry. A massive leather sofa inside a private Atlanta mansion on the evening of December 8, 2020, bore the crushing weight of $1 billion entertainment empire. It sat quietly in the dim office, capturing the exhausted size of a Hollywood mogul suffering under fame's crushing pressure. The cold glow from a laptop screen illuminated the precise moment professional boundaries dissolved into a hidden, frantic passion. The sofa absorbed the rhythmic, intense movements as Tyler Perry knelt behind his longtime male assistant, completely detached from the picture-perfect relationship he projected to the public. This expensive piece of furniture became an inanimate repository of a high-stakes double life, witnessing forbidden desires that the dazzling stage lights were never meant to expose. But the leather also caught the sudden, violent vibrations of approaching footsteps. A porcelain bowl of warm soup shattered against the floor, dropped by his longtime partner, Jalala Bekele. In that frozen second, the illusion shattered completely, fracturing a 13-year bond beyond repair. The couch held this earth-shattering secret in total silence, a mute witness to a compromised legacy that would face further public disgrace by 2025, when actor Derek Dixon filed a shocking harassment lawsuit. It stands as a chilling testament to the fragile nature of power, knowing that no amount of success can cleanse the stains of a secret world. A shattered porcelain bowl completely disrupted the quiet sanctity of an executive office. Yet another legendary titan of Hollywood would soon see his carefully manicured armor pierced under the pulsating, multicolored neon of an exclusive Beverly Hills VIP lounge. Will Smith. It hinges entirely on a single mundane choice: a friend turning back to retrieve a forgotten mobile phone. Will Smith was Hollywood's top masculine icon, a picture-perfect powerhouse dominating the golden illusion of a flawless celebrity marriage. Yet, behind the scenes, whispers of a swinger lifestyle and hidden preferences always lingered. On the night of May 17, 2005, inside an upscale Beverly Hills nightclub, he retreated to a discreet VIP dressing room with his longtime close friend, Dwayne Martin. They stripped away their clothes, their bodies pressed together in an urgent embrace under purple and blue neon lights. They believed they were completely safe, but that one minor oversight by actor brother Bilal became a merciless foe. When Bilal pushed the door open to grab his phone, the sudden drop occurred in a flash of frozen, wide-eyed terror. The three friends stared at each other in an awkward, devastating silence. Though Bilal quietly backed out and guarded the secret for years, the invisible punishment of that single moment simmered under the surface until it exploded in a 2023 public disclosure. This lone choice ultimately pierced a multi-decade facade, demonstrating how a forgotten object can dismantle fame's crushing pressure. A single forgotten item shattered a superstar's carefully guarded fortress of secrecy, just as an over-prepared manager arriving 40 minutes ahead of schedule would inadvertently expose a quiet, unspoken love inside a luxury Upper East Side apartment. Queen Latifah. Hollywood operates as a ruthless machine, where the systemic blade of public expectation dictates that a black female powerhouse must maintain a perfectly curated, independent image just to survive. Queen Latifah was a highly versatile icon navigating these rigid institutional walls, forced to act as a calculated player in a game that demanded her absolute compliance. On the evening of October 11, 2008, inside her private Upper East Side apartment, she returned exhausted from a grueling recording session alongside her longtime partner, Ebony Nichols. They sought a brief reprieve from fame's crushing pressure within the quiet confines of her bedroom. Yet, the relentless gears of the entertainment industry breached her sanctuary when her manager arrived 40 minutes earlier than scheduled, unlocking the door to secure an urgent contract signature. Upon opening the door, the manager caught Latifah kissing Ebony's shoulder, a sudden drop that instantly exposed her hidden double life. Though the manager apologized profusely, gathered the signed papers, and hurried out, the intrusion served as a stark reminder of her compromised autonomy. Refusing to become tabloid fodder, Latifah fiercely resisted mainstream labels for decades, only offering a quiet confirmation at the 2021 BET Awards. Beware the Ton Cock price of glory. When you exchange your privacy for a legendary name, even your midnight sanctuary ultimately belongs to the system. The exhausting protocol of late-night business intrusions forces a sovereign star to defend her boundaries, whereas a different kind of musical royalty chose to build an entirely separate, purple-tinted universe where the line between late-night studio recording and forbidden temptation completely dissolved. Prince. Long before he tragically passed away inside his sprawling estate, a deep spiritual conflict had already dismantled the fluid, boundary-pushing world he spent decades building. Back on the evening of February 29, 1998, he was an untouchable icon living within the golden illusion of an omnidirectional, untamed sexual appeal. Deep inside his private Paisley Park studio, enveloped in a dreamy haze of purple lights, he retreated to a secluded lounge with a young male musician. He sat on top of the man, his body moving rhythmically in a space completely cut off from public disgrace. But this secret playground suffered a sudden drop when a band member unexpectedly pushed the door open to retrieve a forgotten harmonica. The witness stood frozen in absolute shock before fleeing, his shoes clacking loudly on the wood. In the 2000s, trying to outrun the systemic blade of public judgment, Prince joined the Jehovah's Witnesses and publicly rejected homosexuality due to strict biblical interpretations. The raw agony of burying his authentic self under rigid dogma proved that fame's ultimate tragedy is losing the freedom to love. The agonizing struggle to reconcile divine judgment with earthly desires can silently consume a musical genius, just as a volatile, exhausting night of marital warfare would push a tragic pop princess straight into the desperate, protective arms of her truest companion. Whitney Houston. On August 15, 1993, the private reality of a global powerhouse was reduced to a cold sequence of numbers. One volatile night of marital warfare, 3 exhausting hours of midnight conversation, and 2 women seeking desperate solace behind a closed bedroom door. her glamorous marriage was merely a shield against the systemic blade of public scrutiny, masking a well-hidden double life. After a brutal fight with her husband, Whitney summoned Robin Crawford, her truest companion. By dawn, their platonic boundaries dissolved into a passionate, naked embrace. But one unexpected arrival triggered a devastating sudden drop. Her mother, Whitney Houston, entered early to find Whitney holding Robin's thighs tightly. The illusion shattered instantly, replaced by a horror-filled silence. What followed was a calculated transaction. Secret financial payoffs from a mother desperate to enforce invisible walls and protect the star from public disgrace. This invisible punishment severed Whitney's deepest emotional anchor, pushing her into the grip of a silent predator. A severe substance addiction to escape the raw agony of a forbidden love. It took 26 years, culminating in a 2019 memoir, to reveal how these prejudices created an unfillable void in the icon's soul. A mother's desperate financial intervention to preserve a pop princess's pristine image only accelerated her descent into a tragic, drug-fueled isolation, whereas a billionaire hip-hop mogul actively weaponized the darkest, most hedonistic corners of the industry to build a menacing empire of absolute coercion. Sean Combs, Diddy. He projected a glamorous image of absolute wealth, dominating pop culture within a perfectly curated golden illusion. But behind this picture-perfect lifestyle lay a hidden reality of hedonistic parties. Late on November 16, 2023, inside a Hamptons mansion, his public persona shattered into horrific tabloid fodder. Staggering into a bedroom under green light from the pool, fueled by stimulants, he engaged in an intense encounter with two male servers. He stood in the middle, gripping one man's hips while another knelt behind him. His double life suffered a sudden drop when his assistant rushed in with news of a federal lawsuit filed by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The assistant wasn't surprised, being all too familiar with this invisible enemy. This exposed a darker side of criminal charges involving coerced performances called freak-offs. Public disgrace dismantled his empire, proving the world knew nothing of his raw agony. A catastrophic unraveling inside a massive Hamptons estate stripped away the layers of a modern music empire, whereas a vintage comedy legend would see his secrets violently uprooted inside a cramped wooden cabin by Lake Tahoe. Richard Pryor. It began with a trace of white powder on a glass table, caught under the hazy yellow beam of a flashlight resting on a wooden headboard. This tiny detail mirrored the chaotic world of Richard Pryor, a comedy powerhouse celebrated for blunt, raw storytelling. Behind his celebrated spotlight, a complicated double life remained fiercely hidden from public disgrace. On July 9, 1982, inside a secluded Lake Tahoe cabin, his golden illusion completely shattered. Following a show in Reno, Pryor retreated to a single double bed with actor Marlon Brando. After sharing a stimulant, they plunged into an intense encounter. Pryor leaned down low with heavy, urgent breathing, his hands gripping Brando's hips tightly as sweat poured across his chest. This secret sanctuary suffered a sudden drop when the sudden screech of Jeep tires pierced the night. His wife Jennifer Lee burst inside, freezing at the sight of two sweat-covered bodies under the dim light. Her face stiffened with shock and disappointment as her hand trembled against her car keys. The explosive argument that followed smashed their marriage. Though his journals later normalized this fluid sexuality, it remained an invisible punishment that haunted his legacy until his family confirmed the truth after his passing. The chaotic wreckage of a shattered mountain cabin brutally exposed a comedian's hidden world, whereas the silent, carefully curated blank canvas of a luxurious Manhattan penthouse would soon face its own unexpected, emotional interruption under the soft glow of Valentine's candles. Luther Vandross. A suffocating paranoia haunted his brilliant mind, a silent predator born from the relentless fear of stigma. Luther Vandross was an absolute powerhouse of romance, a legendary voice whose heartfelt ballads served as a golden illusion for millions of adoring female fans. But behind the dazzling stage lights, his private life was kept locked behind invisible walls. He built a survival strategy of absolute secrecy, dreading that his true self would cause public disgrace, hurt his mother, or alienate his massive fan base. On the night of Valentine's Day, 1992, he sought a brief escape from fame's crushing pressure inside his luxurious Manhattan penthouse. Retreating to a dark bedroom with a low-key male fashion designer, they lit scented candles that illuminated an unfillable void filled with artwork depicting raw love between men. They kissed passionately across black silk sheets, their breathing blending with the jazz music playing from the speakers. Yet, this private refuge faced an unexpected sudden drop when his closest friend, Patti LaBelle, arrived unannounced and in tears after being dumped. Interrupting their intimacy, the night transformed into an awkward gathering of eating cake and listening to her heartbreak. Though Patti guarded his secret until after his passing, Vandross lived in constant concealment, meaning his authentic soul had effectively perished to public expectation long before his body juicy na, leaving behind an $8.5 million fortress of hidden truths. The exhausting torment of hiding an authentic soul within the shadows of a multi-million-dollar penthouse contrasts sharply with a modern generation of hip-hop icons who defiantly weaponize gender-fluid fashion, only to find their private desires cornered inside the narrow bunk beds of a mobile studio. Young Thug. His public persona presents a striking illusion of gender-fluid defiance, dominating modern hip-hop with a controversial style. Yet, the dazzling stage lights mask an earth-shattering secret behind this calculated rebellion. On the evening of August 23, 2019, inside a mobile studio parked near Atlanta, his double life faced a sudden drop. Dressed in an oversized hoodie and skirt, he retreated to a narrow sleeping area with a young male producer. They pressed against the walls, sharing passionate kisses before Thug gripped a metal bunk bed frame, his body arching for deeper intimacy. This hidden sanctuary shattered when his tour manager walked in to grab a laptop. The manager stood frozen, witnessing a raw, compromised position as the producer undid his belt. Safely closing the door, the manager chose industry silence to avoid public disgrace. While a cramped tour bus holds the quiet secrets of hip-hop royalty, a cozy fireplace inside a sprawling Montecito ranch would catch a legendary media titan entangled in an intimacy that left her longtime boyfriend completely speechless. Oprah Winfrey. A roaring fireplace inside a Montecito library on the night of November 5, 1995, silently observed the hidden vulnerability of the world's most influential media queen. To the public, she was an icon within the golden illusion of daytime television. But the flickering embers watched fame's crushing pressure dissolve when a long production meeting ended. The leather sofa captured the sudden drop of her public persona as she pulled Gayle King into an embrace, their legs tangling in their nightgowns. This sanctuary shattered when her boyfriend, Stedman Graham, entered unannounced. 3 pairs of eyes met in confusion, yet no public disgrace followed. Stedman merely frowned, rationalizing the intimacy as a harmless gesture shared between close female friends. The fireplace safely guarded this double life, preventing her legacy from becoming tabloid fodder. A quiet rationalization inside a dark library shielded a titan's empire, but a late-night knock in a Chicago penthouse would soon dismantle an R&B heartthrob's flawless image. Usher. He had just delivered a flawless performance, solidifying his status as an absolute powerhouse in the golden era of mainstream music. Yet, beneath the dazzling stage lights of this charming gentleman image lay the crushing pressure of a carefully curated golden illusion. On June 12, 2007, inside a Chicago penthouse, his post-concert adrenaline dissolved into a hidden double life. Fresh from the shower, Usher embraced a male backup dancer by a window overlooking the vibrant city. Moving rhythmically on a long sofa, their passion intensified as city lights stretched their shadows across the thick carpet. But this private sanctuary faced a sudden drop when a knock rattled the door. His tour manager had arrived to confirm the next day's pack schedule. When the dancer threw on a robe to answer, his neck was visibly covered in fresh, red hickeys. The manager took one look, recognized the secret reality, and quietly stepped back as the lock clicked shut. An awkward lock clicking in a high-rise hotel room shields a star's secret passion, just as a late-night surprise snack at a New York loft would leave another Hollywood powerhouse fully exposed. Jamie Foxx. It crystallizes around a single detail: a brown paper bag of late-night food dropping onto a wooden floor past midnight on April 18, 2009. Jamie Foxx was an absolute powerhouse, an icon whose low-key lifestyle was protected by the forgiving spotlight of Hollywood. Yet, the dazzling stage lights hid an earth-shattering secret. Returning from filming, he shed his expensive suit as his male stylist secretly embraced him from behind. Within minutes, their double life unfolded in the loft bedroom. Fox on top, sweat dripping onto his lover's back as rough movements wrinkled the white sheets. He never expected his secret girlfriend, Katie Holmes, to enter using a spare key. The illusion shattered instantly when she witnessed the raw scene. As the food dropped and her heels clacked in panic, his hidden reality was exposed. It is an undeniable truth. A simple surprise completely dismantled his survival strategy. The loud clack of retreating heels left an echoing silence in a New York loft, but a far harsher exposure awaited a legendary comedian whose private sanctuary was completely pierced by a blinding police flashlight on Santa Monica Boulevard. Eddie Murphy. The entertainment industry acts as a merciless machine, weaponizing the systemic blade of public morality to dismantle any powerhouse who dares step outside their curated golden illusion. Eddie Murphy was a comedic icon dominating Hollywood with decades of box office hits. Yet the system always demands a steep price for such legendary fame. On the late night of May 2, 1997, he was treated like a mere pawn trapped in a suffocating cage on Santa Monica Boulevard. Reclining the passenger seat of his black Bentley after a long party, he engaged with a transgender sex worker behind fogged-up windows. But the illusion shattered into absolute tabloid fodder when a brutal beam from an LAPD flashlight pierced the darkness. Caught mid-motion, his face turned pale as he scrambled to pull up his pants, facing instant public disgrace. His desperate defense, claiming he was merely performing a good deed, only amplified the chilling speculation surrounding his private life. It serves as a warning about the crushing price of glory, where a single midnight detour can instantly transform a box office king into a helpless target of societal judgment. A sudden, blinding exposure under the harsh glare of a city patrol car rips away a legend's privacy on the cold asphalt, whereas the heavy ocean humidity of a secluded Miami villa would soon frame a silent, watery betrayal witnessed through the condensation of a beachfront shower. Trey Songz. Step into the heavy ocean humidity of a Miami morning on November 7, 2014. Feel the thick air as you walk into a backyard garden, expecting a casual meeting with an R&B powerhouse. Instead, you face a sudden drop into his hidden double life. Through the palm trees, morning light hits an outdoor bathroom where a shower runs heavily. Peer through the foggy glass tightly gripped by a man's hands. That is Trey Songz, an icon of seduction, clinging fiercely to a male dancer under the hot water. It is a scandalous betrayal of his ultramasculine public image. When his close friend Brandon Hines steps closer, the illusion is shattered instantly. Brandon spots the colorful shorts on the ground and flees in a blind panic. The heavy mist safely conceals their forbidden passion, leaving only an unanswered question in the tropical air. A panicked escape from a sun-drenched outdoor shower leaves an R&B star's secrets washed away by the heavy Miami tide, whereas a serene, lantern-lit meditation room inside a Calabasas mansion would soon witness a passionate, late-night alliance that permanently fractured a Hollywood marriage. Jada Pinkett Smith. A serene, lantern-lit meditation room inside a sprawling Calabasas mansion on a cool evening in 2016 became the unexpected epicenter of an earth-shattering secret. To the public, Jada Pinkett Smith was a fiercely independent powerhouse, co-anchoring a picture-perfect family and a highly celebrated glamorous marriage with Will Smith. Yet, behind this carefully curated golden illusion lay a hidden reality of complex, unspoken desires. The heavy scent of burning incense filled the air, masking a passionate intimacy between Jada and a prominent female writer. They lay closely intertwined on a velvet meditation mat, their bodies moving in a quiet, frantic rhythm born from fame's crushing pressure. This forbidden sanctuary suffered a sudden drop when Will Smith unexpectedly pushed open the heavy wooden door, seeking a quiet moment of reflection. The illusion shattered completely under the dim lantern light. Will stood frozen in absolute shock, witnessing his wife tenderly embracing and kissing the woman. Though they quickly buried the incident behind invisible walls to evade the systemic blade of tabloid fodder, This raw exposure became a silent predator that permanently fractured their bond. A quiet room of meditation masked the profound fractures of a Hollywood dynasty, whereas a trail of scattered rose petals in a Harlem loft would soon lead a famous music producer straight into a heartbreaking revelation. Alicia Keys entered the music industry as a unique icon, a powerhouse R&B icon with a strong, tech-savvy personality that broke all conventional norms. This phenomenal success helped her build a perfect golden image in the public eye, turning her into a carefree icon under the spotlight. However, to protect her career before dealing with the systemic media manipulation, she was forced to conceal her hidden interests and maintain a full-fledged double life. On Valentine's night in 2005, in a small studio apartment in Harlem, her secret was met with an unexpected shock. Under the flickering candlelight, Alicia Keys shed her familiar baggy jeans and hoodie to indulge in sweet kisses with the backing singer on the carpet. The heat was so intense they couldn't hear anything outside until the lattice door burst open, and the illusion shattered instantly. Her boyfriend, Swizz Beatz, appeared with a bouquet of red roses, intending to create a romantic surprise. Witnessing the naked scene before him, he stood frozen, confronted with an undeniable and scandalous betrayal. No solution was acceptable. Swizz Beatz immediately uttered a bitter breakup and threw the roses into the trash, leaving an unfillable void in the singer's heart. A bouquet of roses cruelly discarded in a trash can end a life of exhaustion in a Harlem apartment, but it wasn't the most dramatic ending, as the top spot on this list belongs to a legend who owns scrap metal and a heaven-sent secret revealed through the window of a lonely mountain house. Whoopi Goldberg, a renowned Hollywood veteran known for her superb acting style, Whoopi Goldberg had built an unassailable icon under the spotlight. However, behind that golden illusion lay a carefully concealed double life in the Catskill Mountains on the night of November 7, 2003. After a stroll, she and her off-Broadway co-star passionately embraced on an old iron bed. But the bedroom faced sudden destruction when a male colleague passing by, drawn by the stability and curiously peeking through the window, discovered Whoopi making love to her female co-star. The illusion shattered completely. The horrified man left, leaving behind a shockwave that spread throughout the entertainment industry. The dark corners behind the dazzling spotlight are always hidden and secretive. The stories of these 21 black stars are just a small part of an entertainment world brimming with unanswered questions and mysterious speculation. Behind every legendary name, there are real shocks that have never been fully revealed to the public. If this video gives you a completely new perspective, leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss the next thrilling behind-the-scenes stories.